All right, if you're in university leadership, you know this feeling all too well, right? You're basically sitting on a mountain of data. Think about it. Accreditation reports, strategic plans, research outputs, and it's all scattered everywhere. Different drives, different departments. Look, the problem isn't that you don't have enough information. The real challenge is, how do you turn all that stuff into intelligence you can actually use to make critical decisions?
And that right there is the core pain point. I mean, think about getting ready for a big board meeting or an accreditation visit. It can literally mean weeks of just painstaking manual work, right? You're just trying to connect the dots between dozens and dozens of disconnected documents. It's a process that just eats up the one thing you can never get back, your time.
So what if you could completely transform that whole process? Well, this is exactly where NotebookLM comes into the picture. And let's be clear, this is not just another general AI chatbot. Think of it as your private AI research partner. It's what we call source-grounded, and that's a key term. It means it works only with your documents, turning all that scattered institutional data into real, actionable institutional intelligence.
So, over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through exactly how to solve these big challenges. We'll touch on unifying your intelligence, streamlining governance and accreditation, getting a much clearer view of your programs, powering up your strategic research, and of course, accelerating your workflows. And the best part? We'll show you how to do all this while making sure you, the leadership, stay firmly in the driver's seat. Okay, let's dive in. All right, first section. Whenever a new AI tool comes along, the first and most important question is always the same. Can I actually trust this thing? And the answer here, it all comes down to one really powerful idea: grounding the AI exclusively in your institution's reality. So what does that mean, source-grounded? It means NotebookLM becomes an expert only on the documents that you provide. We're talking about your 5-year strategic plan, your quality assurance reports, maybe your entire policy framework. Whatever you give it, its entire world of knowledge is confined to that private, totally controlled environment. Okay, and this right here really gets to the heart of it. You see, general AI chatbots, they pull from the entire open web, right? And that means you're risking unverified info, even hallucinations. NotebookLM is completely different. It works exclusively with your documents. And here's the absolute game changer. Every single answer it gives you is tied directly back to your sources with clickable citations. It literally shows you its work, which means you can actually trust what it's telling you. So, now that we've built this foundation of trust, let's apply it to, let's be honest, one of the most high-stakes things you do at a university: governance and accreditation. I mean, this is where having verifiable proof to show compliance is absolutely everything. And the workflow, it's just incredibly straightforward. First, you upload your key documents, the accreditation standards, your own self-study reports, all the relevant policies. Then, you just ask the critical questions you need answers to. Things like, show me exactly where our curriculum maps to Standard 3.4, or maybe identify any potential gaps in our quality assurance policy. And boom, you immediately get back this synthesized answer, and it comes with direct citations pointing to the exact page and paragraph in your own documents. So what's the result of all this? Well, it's a massive shift in efficiency. You can prepare these comprehensive compliance reports. You can run strategic gap analyses, and everything is backed by hard evidence. And because the AI is source-grounded, that risk of it just making things up, it's gone. That's huge for building credibility with accreditors. The bottom line is, what used to take weeks of grinding manual work can now, seriously, be done in just a matter of hours.
This same power to connect the dots is a game changer for the academic core. For any dean or program director out there, making sure a curriculum is coherent and high quality, well, it's a monumental task, right? It's all about managing a million tiny details.
The process is pretty much the same. You just upload all the relevant docs for a program: curriculum guides, learning outcomes, assessment strategies for every single year. Then you just let NotebookLM do the heavy lifting. Ask it to analyze the alignment between your outcomes and assessments, or check for consistency in how you're applying competency frameworks. You can even ask it to find gaps in your content coverage. And the insights you get back are immediate and super specific. You can pinpoint exactly where a learning outcome isn't being properly assessed. You can find content that's been accidentally duplicated, or worse, is missing entirely. You can basically verify the coherence of an entire degree program, not in a series of endless, painful committee meetings, but in minutes. Think about that. All right, let's talk strategy. The question here is, how do we build a data-driven research strategy without having to rely on expensive external consultants all the time? I mean, beyond compliance and curriculum oversight, let's look at the big picture.
For those of you in charge of research, building a forward-looking strategy often means shelling out for that external analysis. But what if the data you need to build that amazing strategy is already right there, inside your own institution? So here's how it works. You upload your internal research data, all your publication lists, grant records, internal reports, and you can even add in some analyses of emerging trends in your key fields. Then, you basically ask NotebookLM to be your strategic analyst. Tell it to identify emerging research clusters, pinpoint any funding gaps, and then synthesize all of it into one coherent analysis. And what this does is it empowers you to build a truly data-driven research strategy from the inside out. You can actually see your institution's organic strengths, identify exactly where that strategic investment is most needed, and even discover new opportunities for international collaboration, all by just leveraging the intelligence you already have.
Okay, next up, accelerating strategic workflows. Because so far, we've focused a lot on analysis. But let's be real, institutional intelligence is only valuable when it actually leads to action, right? So this next part is all about accelerating that entire workflow, from the initial analysis all the way to the final communication.
And this is where the NotebookLM Studio comes in. It's a fantastic feature. It takes all that source-grounded analysis we've been talking about, and with a single click, it transforms it into a huge variety of professional formats. So you can tailor your message perfectly for any audience or stakeholder you need to reach. I mean, check this out. With just one click, you can generate a crisp executive brief for your board, a super detailed compliance report for accreditors, or a visual slide deck for a staff meeting. You can even create an infographic for students or podcast-style audio summaries for those on-the-go briefings. Need data tables for benchmarking? Done. And here's the most important part. Every single one of these outputs is still 100% grounded in your original trusted documents. All right, this brings us to what might be the most critical principle of all. It is so important to understand the role of this kind of technology. It's not here to replace leadership, it's here to be a powerful amplifier of it.
And let's be absolutely crystal clear on this point. This tool augments your capacity. It does not replace your judgment. Your expertise, your strategic vision, your deep understanding of the institutional culture, and of course, your ultimate responsibility for governance, those things remain central. They are your job. What the AI does is accelerate all the analytical grunt work, freeing you up to focus on what really matters: the strategy, the relationships, and the vision.
So yes, quality control is still your responsibility. The final step is always human verification. But here's the difference. Because every single claim is cited, that verification process isn't some deep dive into raw data anymore. It's a focused, expert review that honestly usually takes just about 10 to 15 minutes. That's all it takes to make sure the output aligns perfectly with your judgment. So where do you begin? Look, don't try to boil the ocean. Start with just one specific institutional challenge. Maybe it's prepping for that upcoming curriculum review, or developing the next phase of your research strategy, or even just drafting a report for your next board meeting. Pick one thing. Upload the relevant documents, ask the questions you've been wanting to ask, and just experience for yourself how your institution's data can become true institutional intelligence. This is leadership enhanced, not replaced. Go to notebooklm.google.com to get started.